If you're like me, you've probably wondered sometimes with all the microphones out there, all the different brands, good brands, good microphones, with all the different environments, with all the different price ranges. What mic is the right one to use? Sometimes that can be really a challenge to figure out which one you should pick. And little by little, I started with, I don't know, I think I maybe got it on sale or secondhand even maybe for $70 maybe, a large diaphragm condenser to kind of get started. And then I just, little by little, I'd add this or that thing to my microphone collection. And it's not that I have very many, and it's not that they're very high priced. But I do have a kind of a variety. I have various different kinds of mics. Even here today, I have a Lewitt 440 Pure, so that's a large diaphragm condenser. I have the Electro Voice RE320, which would be a dynamic. Then tucked down in here, I have a mini shotgun mic, you might say. It's more for on top of a camera, but I have that one from Rode. And then I'm actually, even just for curiosity, I'm including this lav mic here. It is not expensive whatsoever. It's just some cheap thing that I got early on. But because we debate so much of, well, what mic is the right mic? And obviously some of that might depend on what you're doing, if it's regular voiceover or if it's maybe a long-form narration like an audiobook. Maybe if it's just a YouTube video or something. May depend what you would choose. And of course these are different priced, although basically the retail value on the Lewitt and the RE320 are very similar, in the $270 range, I think. And then the Videomic that I have from Rode, it's actually not the NTG, but it's the kind of a knockoff from that, so it's about $100. The lav mic here is maybe $15 or something. It's not expensive at all. It's quite a cheap one. And I'm running everything except the lav mic into my Zoom H5 recorder. And so, that's not necessarily high end, but it served me very, very well for a couple of years, 2.5 years maybe. And I'm very happy with it. So anyway, we have that. And all of these mics are going into that except for the lav, which is going into just a phone recorder because it has the TRRS end, and so I can just record it on my phone. The room in general, I think, is somewhere around negative 60 dB of just kind of the room tone. And so, I mean, you can kind of just think of that. I'm not gonna do much of anything. I'm not gonna do noise reduction and all that stuff. I'm just gonna try to let you hear pretty well raw. I may have to level up just a little bit on some of the volume. We'll see how that goes. I've tried to match them on the Zoom. I'm not sure about the lav. We'll just see what that comes out like. But I'll try to sort of normalize that, and you can see what you think. So even just back and forth, just right now, sort of cycling through, we'll have the mics numbered, and sort of a surprise. I'll let you comment for a while. But eventually then I'll plan to put on there what the reveal is, and you can kind of see what you think. We're not doing any sort of live voting here, so just let me know what you think, and I'll plan to put in the comments or the description there which mic was which, and then you can go from there. I'm going to give you just a brief snippet from an audio book that I am sort of in the process, a kind of a long-term process here. It's just for my family or friends or whatever, I think. But anyway, I'm going to give you just a little snippet of that, of just some direct reading. I may not even get through it perfectly, but just a paragraph or so, not even maybe a full paragraph, but just a few lines here of The Keeper of the Bees by Gene Stratton Porter. It's a classic book, and our family has enjoyed it. So I'm going to read you a little snippet from that, and give just a little bit more time to kind of evaluate the mics. I'll be kind of sorting between them, and I'll try to label them as I switch. And you can kind of pick which one you like, and maybe in the comments just let me know not just which one you like, but why. and maybe even guesses as to which mics you think are which. And then, of course, again, in the description, I can let you know for sure. As he struggled up the mountain that morning, the perspiration streaked his cheeks. While his knees wavered and his white hands clutched at any tree or shrub that offered support, James McFarlane was thinking. He was thinking fast and thinking deeply. He was wondering, since 1 year at these boiling mineral springs had done him no good whatever, whether another year would accomplish what the first had failed in doing. He was wondering if he were not weaker, less of a man than he had been a year ago. He was wondering how long the government was going to keep him at these springs when their water did him no good. He knew of the bitter denunciations that were being made all over the country of those in charge of caring for our returned soldiers. He knew of the red tape, the graft, and the slowness involved in reaching the boys with the treatment that they needed, and which should have been accorded them with all the speed that was used in starting them on their perilous venture. He knew there was bitterness in the heart of almost every wounded man on this point. There was poignant bitterness in his own heart. So many weeks had been wasted. So many months had passed before decision had been made as to what was to be done, and how it was to be done, and where it was to be done. So much had been taken for granted, and so little efficiently accomplished after peace had been declared. Now, of course, it's following the war. So anyway, one thing I noticed, even as I was reading, I had a couple of vehicles go by on the road out here. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but maybe, 50 to 75 yards away is a road now. And, of course, that impacts which mic you choose as well. And so anyway, maybe you can just think about that. I'm not even going to take that out. You can just, it may be that at that particular time, it would be the dynamic mic and you won't even notice. But it's very possible. I haven't, I'm not listening live at this point. And so when I go back through and listen on the headphones, then, maybe I'll notice it. But I know I can hear it different times as I've been talking. So that's another consideration, is what's our space like. And so anyway, you let me know in the comments what you think, which mic is the best one and why. And just see if it kind of helps you toward a decision as to whether a large diaphragm condenser mic, whether a, decent, in fact I have a SM58 as well. And, sometimes even a dynamic mic may work well, the Electro Voice. Or is there any place for just a little mini shotgun mic? You let me know. This poor little fella here, I suppose he gets minimized, and we don't usually want to record with a lav mic if we can help it maybe. But what do you think? Is it that much different in a treated space? Obviously, it's sort of omnidirectional and normally picks up a lot, but in the booth, is that okay? Is there any use for it there? Well, you let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be looking forward to your comments. We're back in the booth here for just a moment. In concluding this video, I listened back to the audio, and I realized I had really not given the lav mic a fair shake. I had recorded on that phone, and I've used that in various ways. It seems like it depends on which phone it is recorded on, but I felt like that's just not fair, and I think I can get a better recording. And so right now you're listening to the lav, but now it is run into the Zoom H5. So rather than trying to do it separately because I didn't have enough ports or whatever, I thought, well, I'll give you just a little sample of what it really should sound like in the booth, and hopefully that'll give just a little bit of a different perspective. It's pretty obvious in the recording, I know, as to which microphone was the lav, but now it gives just a little bit of a different sound, and in fact, it's quite a bit of a different sound. And so I just wanted to tack this on at the end, and again, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you another time.